everybody, it's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today as I recommend books to other booktubers. So first of all, I need to apologise for the state of my voice. I do have a bit of a cold, so I may sound quite stuffy and a bit croaky as well, so sorry about that. Anyway, this video is part of a series that I have been doing on my channel for about the last 2 years, and the premise is pretty straightforward really. I recommend books to different booktubers, sometimes people who aren't booktubers, and basically there are 2 ways that you can be recommended a book. The first is that I will randomly choose booktubers that I like, that I want to recommend books to, but also people can comment and ask to be recommended a book. So if you would like to be recommended a book, please comment below and let me know. If you do not have a booktube channel, then please comment and let me know some of your favourite books, maybe a favourite genre, maybe even some books that you don't particularly like, just so that I can get an idea of what to recommend to you. However, if you have a booktube channel, I can go and look up some of your content and see the sort of things that you like. I do try to make sure that people will find out that I have recommended them a book, so I do try to kind of make sure that the people are vaguely aware of me, but sometimes I like to branch out a little bit and recommend books to people who I don't necessarily think would be subscribed to my channel. They're just too big of a channel to know I exist or that sort of thing. And yeah, just branch out a little bit. So that is the basic idea behind this video. I have got 8 people that I'm going to recommend books to today. One of those people asked to be recommended a book, and then the other 7, I just decided that I was going to recommend them books. So that's the general premise, and let's just dive in and do that, shall we? So the first person that I'm going to recommend a book to is Zara from the channel West Australian Diamond Art and Reads. Zara is a subscriber of mine and she has been subscribed to my channel for quite a while, and in my last video she did comment and say that she would like to be recommended a book. She did say that she was looking for some more high fantasy recommendations. So Zara, for you, I'm actually going to recommend a series, and that is the Realm of the Elderling series by Robin Hobb. You can start this series either with the Assassin's Apprentice, which is the first book in the Farseer trilogy, or you can start with Ship of Magic. Is that the first book? Yes, that is the first book. Ship of Magic, which is the first book of the Live Ship Traders trilogy. So Assassin's Apprentice, we follow one main character whose name is Fitz Chivalry, and he is the bastard son of the king in waiting, but when Fitz is born, Chivalry abdicates his soon-to-be kinghood, and his brother steps up. Chivalry is sent to live and be raised at the palace, and he is given to his father's best man, most loyal subject, I don't know. But anyway, the stable keeper, Burrick, and it's about Fitz as he grows up in that environment, and he is trained secretly to be the royal assassin, and yeah, it's about him growing up and becoming an assassin and various different things that happen to him along the way. Then we have the Ship of Magic. Now this is one that follows several different characters. We follow the Vestrit family, so a number of different characters in the Vestrit family, and they are traders from Bingtown. They are the owners of a live ship. Live ships are ships that are created from sentient wood, essentially, and they have a really particular magic whereby once 3 members of the same family have died on board the ship, then their essence kind of gets into the wood, which they call wizard wood, and then the ship becomes alive. This is about the Vestrit family and the ship and various different things that happen along the way. It's my favourite trilogy out of the whole series, although I love everything in the series. So if either of those sound the most interesting to you, start with whichever one you would like, but you would have to read Farseer trilogy and Live Ship Traders trilogy, one or the other, and then the other one, if that makes sense, before continuing with the rest of the series. Alright, and then the rest of the people that I'm going to recommend books to did not ask, but I hope they don't mind having a recommendation anyway. So the first of these is Wren from the Reading Wren. So to you, Wren, I'm going to recommend Solutions and Other Problems by Ali Brosh. I have decided to recommend this book to you because I think that it takes different elements from different sorts of books that you really enjoy, and I think that you would really like it. This is actually the second book that Ali Brosh has published. I have not read the first book, although both books are based on her webcomic or weblog, which is called Hyperbole and a Half. So I would recommend that you look that up and have a read of some of the amazing comics that she has got in Hyperbole and a Half, just to get an idea. And also because I think most of Hyperbole and a Half is what's in the first book, and then the second book is its own separate thing. It's basically about Ali and her life and her experiences, and it is a graphic novel. The drawings are really simple but really, really funny, and she just is very sarcastic and humorous and very clever, and I really think that you would enjoy it. I know that you really, really enjoy graphic novels. I know that you enjoy quite hard-hitting contemporaries and books that really get you thinking, and yeah, I know that you like those books that explore sort of hard-hitting topics, and Ali Brosh explores her own experiences with depression and anxiety, and like I said, it's just in a really, really funny, really interesting way. And yeah, I just think you would get a lot out of it. I think you would find it funny but also quite heart-wrenching in a lot of ways, and I think you'd really enjoy it. So yeah, that's my recommendation for you, Wren. Then I'm going to go very far out on a limb, and I'm going to recommend a book to Murphy from Murphy Napier. The book that I'm going to recommend to you, Murphy, is Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. The reason I'm recommending this book is because I know that you do really like Neil Gaiman's writing style, and I also know that you have recently been getting more into Terry Pratchett, and I just think that you would really, really enjoy this one. This is, the two of them writing together, and they work so well together. You can really see that this was a real labour of love between them, and that they both contributed their own way of thinking and their own way of putting books together, and it just comes out with a really fantastic, very British in a way, in that irreverent humour that the British do so well. But I think because you already like both authors, I think you'd really enjoy it and get a lot out of it. It's one of my favourite books of all time. I read it quite often, so I'm really hoping that you enjoy it. And yeah, that is my recommendation to you, Murphy. Next up is Kirsty from K. Beth Bookish. And for you, I'm actually going to recommend a series of books that I've only read the first volume of, or the first comic of, and that is The Sandman by Neil Gaiman. I'm recommending this book, or this series of comics, because I think you'd really enjoy them. They are quite dark and paranormal. I know that one of your favourite shows is My Hero Academia. I don't know if it's one of your favourite mangas as well, although I think it probably is. I've not read My Hero Academia either, but I have heard that it is quite dark in a lot of ways, although that it's very fun as well. And I think that that is what I would say The Sandman is as well. It's definitely got Neil Gaiman's very kind of irreverent humour to it and interesting way of looking at the world, which I really, really love. I really enjoyed the first comic that I read recently. Definitely planning on reading some more quite soon. So yeah, I would recommend this to you. I think you would get a lot out of it. I think you'd really enjoy it. That's why I'm recommending it to you. So yeah, there you go. The next person that I would like to recommend a book to is Brianna from Four Paws and a Book. So for you, Brianna, I would like to recommend Graceling by Kristen Cashaw. I think that you already intended to read this or already have read it perhaps, in which case I recommend whichever of the books you got up to that you continue basically with the series. I know that you saw that Bethany and Cara and I did a read along of this series, but you didn't get a chance to join in, and I just think that you'd really, really enjoy them. They are not quite a straightforward YA romance fantasy as they were publicised as. It deals with a lot of quite interesting topics in a really interesting and unique way. The main premise of the story is that we follow Katza. I was going to say Katniss, but no, it's Katza. And Katza lives in this world where there are people who have some kind of special ability, and it's called being graced. So it might be that they are an excellent musician, or it might be that they can shoot a bow incredibly well. Katza is graced with killing. She's an excellent murderer, basically, and she is used by the king of her realm, who is her uncle, as his assassin. But it is about her kind of growing up and growing out of being used as an assassin and coming to realize what her worth is. They're very well written. They discuss quite a lot of themes of feminism and finding yourself and finding your own worth, which I think is really interesting and done in a really, really well nuanced way. And yeah, I just think that you'd really enjoy them. I think you'd get a lot out of them, and I really hope that you do, because that's the book I'm recommending to you. Next up, I wanted to recommend a book to Ash from Ash's Adventures in Books. The book that I wanted to recommend to you today, Ash, is Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. Now, I have to be honest with you, I did like this book, but I didn't love it. I'm not going to continue with the series, but I do think that it is a book that you would really, really enjoy. I know that you love fantasy. I know that you really enjoy fantasy that is based on myth and legend, and for that reason, I think that you would really enjoy this. It is adult, although it does read a little bit YA. I'm not sure if that's something that you're particularly interested in, but I do know that you are currently at least reading some young adult fantasy and seem to be really enjoying them. So I think this would really work for you. It is inspired by Chinese mythology, the mythology of the moon goddess. So yeah, I think it was quite interesting, the mythology that it was based on and the way that that was woven into the story, and I just think that you'd really enjoy it. Then I'm going to recommend a book to Chelsea from Chelsea Zhao. So Chelsea, the book that I'd like to recommend to you today is Generations, which is a Firefly novel by Tim Libben. I'm recommending this book to you because I know that you love sci-fi. I know that you like some of the Star Trek books that are based obviously on Star Trek, the entire franchise, and I suspect that you would really enjoy this book, which is based on Firefly. If you haven't watched Firefly, I would recommend that you do watch Firefly before you read this book, but I do think that you'd really like it. It is very kind of classic sci-fi in that it is about people in space. It is about the crew of Serenity, which is a Firefly class of spaceship, and it is about them kind of adventuring through space and the various different antics they get up to. In this particular book, they are trying to find one of the original Generations ships that took the survivors of Earth out of Earth and into this current verse where they live, which is another galaxy. If you have seen Firefly, then I do think you'd still really enjoy this. It is definitely written by someone who seems to know a lot about Firefly. I really felt like I was reading from Mal's perspective, Kaylee's perspective, River's perspective, etc. All of the characters felt very authentic to the original show. So if you have seen the show, I definitely think you'd enjoy it, and if you haven't, then I still think you'd enjoy it, but I do recommend reading, or watching I should say, Firefly first. And then the final person that I want to recommend a book to today is Amber from Books of Amber. And Amber, today I'm going to recommend Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. I read this book quite some time ago. I think it was actually before I had my channel, and I really, really enjoyed it. I am pretty sure that you like Gone Girl, which of course is her more famous book. I personally thought that Sharp Objects was better. It does deal with Munchausen by proxy. I have absolutely no idea how accurate it is. I have no idea how people who have experienced Munchausen by proxy, I don't even think I'm saying that correctly. I don't know how they would feel about it. I don't know whether it has ever been reviewed by Own Voices reviewers. So obviously bear that in mind. Take this with a grain of salt. But I do think you'd enjoy it. It is a thriller, or possibly a suspense, and it is about a woman who goes back to her hometown, basically just has to kind of face her upbringing, but also it's about a murder that happened in her hometown and her trying to figure that out. I won't go into any more detail, but yeah, I think it was quite twisty. I think it was well written. I enjoyed the way that she dealt with the various different traumas and mental health issues that the characters had. And yeah, I just think that it was really interesting and well written, and I think you would enjoy it. So those are all the people and all the books. Like I said before, if you would like me to recommend a book to you, then please do comment below and let me know. If you don't have a YouTube channel or somewhere where I can easily go and see the sorts of books that you enjoy, please leave information about that below as well. If you're one of the people that I recommended a book to, please comment below and just let me know what you thought of my recommendation. If you're not, please comment below and let me know my recommendation anyway. If you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me a heart emoji, because this is sort of a little bit of a way of shouting out some booktubers. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.